Big news with Star Wars, EA, and Disney. Project Luminous, big old leak came out on that one here today. They are trying to coagulate everything in the Star Wars universe, trying to make it more like the MCU, make it the SWU, Southwestern University. Big shout out to those guys over there. So anyway, we've got information here that there's still an unannounced, untitled video game coming out here, all as part of this Project Luminous, set in the Star Wars universe, supposed to be coming out with EA with their whole new license here. They still have a couple years on their license before Disney renews it, cancels it, gives it away, does something else. We don't know what's going to happen here. But this new video game is supposed to come out sometime late 2020, early 2021. What we do know about this is that it's going to be set about 400 years before the Skywalker saga. So this is still, we're at the end of the Old Republic. This is going to be happening when we're still talking about the Sith Lords. They're going to have their rule of two involved in there. Yoda will still be around. Yoda will only be a measly 400 years old. So he's just going to be a little young pup in there. He's not going to be Grandmaster Yoda. He will not be Master Yoda. He will just be Jedi Knight Yoda, which will be really cool to see. EA can put their own, hopefully positive mark on the Star Wars canon. We saw BioWare do this a number of years ago with the Knights of the Old Republic. They went back 4,000 years, way back, way before anything ever happened in there, so they could do pretty much whatever they wanted. And after that, we got to see the likes of Darth Malak, Darth Revan. You got to play and do all these cool things, got to go to all these different systems. They kind of harken back to some of the new stuff that we're seeing here. We got to hear about the throwaway line, the rebels being on Dantooine in Star Wars back in the late 70s. We actually got to go to Dantooine. We got to see what was on Dantooine back in that time. So hopefully here, they'll be able to come up with something that isn't necessarily going to need to create a one-off character that you'll have to come up with right now and then kill off by the end of the game. Kind of like as fun as Jedi Fallen Order is. Jedi Fallen Order is a great game. However, with the timeline that it's set up in, is Cal has to be around and then he has to be gone. There's no in between. Like, he has to be here, he has to be gone. Kind of the same idea with The Force Unleashed, which I don't think is canon anymore. I don't remember. I'm having a hard time keeping up with all the changes Disney made when they originally bought Star Wars. But what we had was, you had this character, Starkiller, had to be created, had to be an apprentice of Darth Vader, and then be gone before all the events in the later of the sagas, but in the middle section that we have now in 4, 5, and 6, that's going on right now. What we had was Starkiller, who had to be created, be an apprentice of Darth Vader, which they did a great job in making that. Gameplay, I mean, we talked about that. That's a whole different story over there. But you had this character. He was right here. He was right now. And then he had to be killed off. And then in Force Unleashed 2, he was cloned because, yay, sci-fi? That's what happens. On occasion, you make a clone to continue a story. But one of the fantastic things that they have the opportunity to do now is that they could just create some characters, create a world, create some backstory. Like, for instance, the Dantooine. You can take some one-off line from any one of the 9 main movies, or any one of the number of spin-offs that they've had so far, and go explore some facet of that. You can go and see anything that's going on. Like, right now, The Mandalorian is talking about, kind of hinting at where the Mandalorian race has come, where they've been, what's going on with them. Why not either in the Mandalorian show somehow, I don't know how you can make this work, go back in time. Go see what happened to the Mandalorian people, what was going on. They alluded to a Mandalorian war way back 4,000 years ago in the Star Wars canon, so that might not be a thing there. But in the 400 years, we can go see stuff in the Star Wars Clone Wars TV show, all that. There's plenty of opportunity there for you to explore in a video game to be a non-Jedi character. Something where you can be a Mandalorian, be a bounty hunter, be some other robot, be something else. I love the Jedi. I love being able to do all that, use all my force powers, doing all those different things there, but it is also fun to see what other things can you do. Can you be a protocol droid? Might be a very boring game, but you could do something that could be like a type to learn kind of game. So we do know, taking this all back around, we do know that Marvel has a winning strategy of how to create an expanding universe. Something where you can go from just the one movie of Iron Man way back in 2008 to the Avengers Endgame and everything that's encompassed, all 20-something movies. So we know that you can do that. What I would love to see is how you can incorporate all of that information, all of those different facets there, take them from part of the TV series, their Netflix series, their Disney Plus series, their video games, incorporate all of that into a movie. Now, video games have become way more popular in recent history. Way, way more popular. It's no longer the thought that people who play video games are these fat, overweight, neckbeard, gross-looking dudes hiding out in their mom's basement. They're people like Henry Cavill. Superman plays video games. He's the frickin' Witcher, too. Fantastic show. Go check it out. Awesome stuff there. So, everybody's playing video games in some form or fashion here. How can we incorporate some of what happens in a video game into a movie without alienating a solid majority of people who still don't play video games? How can you allude to those things? How can you make it feel like it's a real part of the video game, but not make it so that if you didn't play the video game, you're lost? You cannot find which way's up and which way's out, and you're just stuck in a wet paper bag and just drowning. Mixing all my metaphors together here, it's what I do. It's what happens. So, hopefully, they can figure something out here. Can we have some flashbacks, some one-off little areas that would impact, and when you go see the movie, you go see the TV show, you go, I remember that in the video game. That was, okay, so that's why all of this happened. All of this and that and the other thing have happened. So there's a lot of promise here. There's a lot of awesome stuff that can happen. However, Jedi Fallen Order being the fantastic game that it is, EA is still at the helm. And we've seen what EA has done, both with Battlefront 1, Battlefront 2, all those kind of issues that they've had there. They've turned Battlefront 2 around, and it is a great game now. However, the damage was done in the beginning. And I'm cautiously optimistic with how they're going to handle this. Will they continue this trend? Will they continue this and make it a trend of a good game? Can they make a great game, a single-player, narrative-driven story? Because one game is an accident. As much as Fallen Order is fantastic and hundreds of people have put thousands of hours into it and they deserve all the credit that they deserve. They deserve all the awards they deserve. It's a great job. But one game can still be an accident. Two games, it's a coincidence. It's a good coincidence. Two good games is a good coincidence. Three games is a trend. And I will be cautiously optimistic until they can show me that they have the wherewithal, the knowledge to make another good game. So, as I previously mentioned, Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2 was created by one of their studios. BioWare is owned by EA. That's great. We're like, all right, I'm like, let's jump on this. Let's do this. Let's get BioWare onto another Star Wars game. Make something like Knights of the Old Republic or that same, they have that pedigree. They have the ability to make these games. However, they're working on Dragon Age 4, which should hopefully be coming out about the same time this game does, so that kind of rules out BioWare from doing that. DICE has got their own thing going on. Respawn is kind of now in the whole DICE thing, Respawn DICE. I don't know what's going on with that. We reported on that a couple days ago here. But there are some options for good studios. Maybe it's someone else who hasn't really proven in the mainstream all of their worth of what they can really do when they're allowed to make a game like this with minimal restraints. I think while Disney is going to say, you have to hit these plot points because this is where our universe is going. Kind of like what had happened in a lot of the Marvel movies, where Kevin Feige, fantastic planner that he is, would say, hey, this is what you got to do. This is where we are. This is where we're going. You got to hit these beats. What you do in the other spaces, that's great. You can do whatever you want, but we have to introduce an Infinity Stone, and that became the central plot of Guardians of the Galaxy 1. All right, cool. They could do that. Now, the Republic, at this point of the history that they're going, has been going strong for about 600 years, give or take. So it'll be interesting to see how everything's going to be set up, everything's going to be going. I imagine it to be something along the lines of an Old Republic-style game, where it could be an MMORPG, it could be some kind of games-as-a-service thing. I'm hesitant. This is why I'm really hesitant with EA at the helm here. That games-as-a-service is really EA's deal. It's really kind of nerve-wracking as to what may or may not happen here. So Disney's going to kick this series off. They already kind of have. They already have done a lot of what they want to do. They've got some things happening. They've got movies that are going to happen well before the main Star Wars Central 9 movies, which is going to give a lot of freedom. Where, yes, Luke was the last Jedi, and then there's Rey and blah, blah, blah. But you don't have to create this one-off character that has to be killed when you make a game that takes place in between episodes 3 and 4, or 1 and 2, or any one of those. I really want to know how EA is going to do this. I'd like to know a little more information on this game. I'd love to see what happens here. Hopefully everything will pan out. We'll get another great game. I would love to see a continuation here of their fantastic success of Fallen Order, and I want to see what they can do next. I'm hoping that this Project Luminous doesn't end up hurting the TV series, the movie series, and the game series. I hope that each one can build off of each other. They can take notes from each one. They can do a little bit of everything. I'm really hoping that EA can get everything together and go ahead and just make a great game. Thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, feel free to hit a like. Don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. Thank you, and I'll see you all in the next video.